Hi everyone, welcome to episode 72 of the arieknits podcast. My name is Ariel and this is a video podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been knitting and spinning on for the past week. Today it is Saturday, May 4th. I am filming this a little later in the day than I usually do, so might be a little tired, but we are just going to continue as usual for the video. So today, starting off with what I am wearing, it was a finished object in last week's video, but it was still a little damp from me washing it and blocking it, and so today I'm finally wearing it and I will talk more about it. And I wore it throughout this past week, and so I can have kind of a better review on wearing it, I guess, to share with you. So yeah, I am wearing the Asopo cardigan by Sari Nordlund. It's a pattern that is in her Softly Timeless Knits book. It is the first pattern that I have knit from the book, and the yarn I use is the Rerum Natura Gilliatt, and I really love this yarn. It is one of the yarn that she used for her sample in the book. Also, this cardigan comes in the book. It has two different versions of it. One is a long version and one is a cropped shorter version. And so I made the cropped version for this one, and I made size 2. I used US 7 needles for the as the main needle, which I had to size up my needles for this, which is it's kind of unusual for me to have to size up. But I did. US 7 is 4.5 millimeter needles. And final measurements for this, I got 45 inches in circumference, and that gives me about 15 inches of positive ease. This was done on purpose. I went a little more than the recommended positive ease for this pattern. Part of that reason was because when Sari Nordlund came to La Mercerie, which is a yarn store here in Seattle, or on Bainbridge Island, when she went there, she brought some of her samples from the book, and I tried on some of the things. She had both versions of this cardigan, the long version and the cropped version, and I really liked that the cropped version was kind of a more oversized look and feel. And even though the cropped version she had was a bigger size than size 2, I believe, but I just like the idea of having an oversized cropped version. So anyway, that is a version I made. I will stand up now so you can see how this looks on me. So even though I made the cropped version, I did make the length of the body, I think, like an inch longer than what the pattern says to make it. And my reasoning for that was just I wanted to use as much yarn as possible. And so I really had very minimal amount of yarn left over, which was super awesome for this. But here it is. I don't know how to... and also the way when I measured this, I laid it flat for the circumference, and then I did not overlap the front ribbed kind of band here. There are no buttons on this cardigan, but it does have this rolled or folded over section at the top, and I really like that it kind of lays, it kind of does that rolled thing, but then kind of slowly flattens. There's a ribbed hem on the body, tubular bind off. I guess I'm trying to think. So my belly button's right here. So as far as it's not super cropped, but it's by no means a full length cardigan. Here you can see the shape a bit here. Let me go back a little more here. Yeah, here we go. So that's kind of what it looks like. There's cables on the top part of the sleeve. It's not all the way around. So on the bottom part of the sleeve, it's just plain reverse stockinette. And of course, same on the second sleeve. When you lay this flat, there is shaping on the shoulder, so it is very like sloped down. And if I turn around, you can kind of see that this was where you work the back first and the shaping, and then you pick up to do the front. It has that really nice line there. And yeah, so hopefully that gives you kind of an idea on how that looks. I really, really like this cardigan. It's really comfortable, and I did wear it pretty much every day this week, and I wore it a couple ways. I mean, it's really not that too many different ways, but like right now, so I wore it with like a t-shirt, and that's been really nice. The yarn isn't like super heavy or weighty, but it's very warm. And another way I wore it when it was colder, I wore a long sleeve shirt under this, and that was extremely warm in a good way. And I think, because it is partly like it's oversized, but the circumference of the sleeve, I would not call this oversized. It is quite slightly fitted. I mean, there's really not too much positive ease on the sleeves, so I would kind of like keep that in mind, but it is very like drop shoulder, and so the sleeve doesn't start until way after your shoulder. But it does kind of, like, I was able to wear a long sleeve shirt under this. That was really nice, especially because, I will be honest, this yarn, I love it, but it's not like soft. It's not like merino, like superwash merino soft. It does have a kind of like structure to it, and so I could, like, depending on how, for me, it really like depends, I don't know, temperature or mood. Like sometimes it's a little itchy, but it's not pokey. Like this yarn isn't pokey, and I don't really know how to explain like the differences between that, but as far as like wearing this over like a long sleeve thing, super warm, super comfortable. I really, really like that. But as you can see, I'm wearing it with a t-shirt right now, so it also works for me for that. What else can I say? I'm just very happy with this finished object. I think it's a very nice staple piece and timeless, as the book that the pattern came in says. Very timeless knits. I think this will be kind of like something that's in style for, I mean, how can you go wrong with a stockinette cardigan with some really nice cabled sleeves? Like it has just like that nice enough texture to make it interesting, but for it to not be overwhelming. I really like the color I chose for this, and I've mentioned this before in the book pictures. The cropped version is in a black yarn, which is really nice, but it does make seeing some of the details, especially the cables on the sleeves, a little hard to see in the pictures. And so having this in a lighter colored yarn, although I would call this kind of a gray-brown yarn, you can see the cables a lot easier in this color, and I just really, really like how it looks. I like how it feels. I really like this yarn. It worked up really quickly. I think I finished this in like 3 weeks, maybe a month. So that was really nice. I can see wearing this being a very like hard wearing thing. So overall, really like it. I'm gonna wear it until it gets too hot again, and then save it to wear it when the weather gets cooler. But yeah, I'm also very happy with the size, because when I started, I was trying to pick between size 1 and size 2. I do like size 2. I think I want to make the long version eventually. And yeah, I don't know if I would make size 2 for the long version, or if I would go with size 1. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be for a long time if I make this again, so because I'm quite happy with this version actually, so I think it's really cute. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. And so that is what I am wearing today. Very happy with it. Let's talk about whips, my works in progress. Starting with, as you may have guessed, my Sweet Shop blanket by Penrose. Okay, let's just show you this week's 4 squares, because I have the blanket folded up to show you just that. Oh my gosh, wait. Here it is. Again, as a reminder, we are in the winter month. It's the last winter month. The winter season sock sets. It is definitely not winter right now. Sorry, got sidetracked a little there, or my mind did. Winter sock sets for the blankets, and this is the 3rd one, which means there's only 4 more squares left in the blanket, which means next week this blanket should be done, which is absolutely crazy. It feels like I just started it, and also that I've been knitting it for a while, and I've talked about it for many videos, but this week's colors is Aurora Borealis for the variegated color, and Snow for the tonal. So Snow and Aurora Borealis, which is really nice. Here is the variegated in the cake of the colors. It's very pretty. I think it matches the colorway name really nicely. I am quite happy with how, I was worried, I was not sure how the tonal, like the mini skein of this would come out in the blanket, because when that colorway is not next to the bare colored yarn, which is what I'm using for like the main color for this entire blanket, it looked quite white. And I know bare yarn is a slightly more yellow color, but I was wondering, like, will it just look like a plain square that I didn't use 2 different colors? But it definitely showed up as 2 different colors here. So I think what's really interesting is, like, for very light colors, it's hard to, like, again, this color looks very just plain white on its own, but compared to a bare yarn that is slightly yellow in color, you can tell that this color is like a slight blue tinge to it. And so I just found that very interesting. Like, you can really, compared to a bare colored yarn, like tell what kind of dye a more kind of like white colored yarn looks like. Like, there is a difference between a bare colored yarn and a yarn that is dyed to look a bit more like white, or a very pale, blue in this case. So anyway, yeah, I was just very curious how it was going to turn out in the blanket, and it looks fine to me. It looks really pretty. I really like it, and I just cannot wait for this to be done. Not because I'm bored of working on it, but because it's such a huge project, and I've been really good about working on it every week, making some progress, and it's just going to be really cozy to use. I've actually already been using it, like, to keep myself warm, even though it's not done yet. Like, it's big enough to lay on my lap and cover my legs to keep me warm, so it's already been used as a blanket, even though it's not done yet. But I think also, again, what's really nice about this pattern is that you add on squares as you go, and there's no sewing required to add the squares, and so you really can, it really is like a finished object at whatever point you want it to be. And so this blanket is very themed for the Pasley Knits Seasons boxes, so I don't see myself adding more squares to it, but you know, if I, for whatever reason, wanted to add more squares even after this is done, I could add more squares and make the blanket bigger. But, you know, like, it's really nice that there is that option to, like, you can make a small one and, you know, be done knitting on it but still use it. And then if you want to make it bigger, you can just keep adding to it. So, yeah. Yeah, that is my, oh my gosh, this is the second to the last week before this blanket is done. I did think about how the heck am I going to wash this. I don't know yet. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. It's very big. And right now, the way that I wash my knits is in this, like, bucket. And I don't know if this is, like, too big for the bucket. So, I don't know if I'm going to get that done next week. But because I want to finish knitting. I still need to finish knitting 4 more squares. But when I wash and block this, I will let you all know how I do that and also how that goes. I did have a bit of a freak out moment. I was like, ooh, what if the colors bleed? Because there's a lot of very different colors, a lot of very dark and bright colors, varying colors in all kinds of ranges. I don't know, but again, we'll see. We'll see what happens when it happens. But yeah, so that is my Sweet Shop blanket for this week. Okay. For some other, actually I made a lot of progress on this week. I feel like this is another kind of longer term project. This is my Verglass wrap by Lindsey, Fowler. And this is my soup shawl. And I'm using Coast to Coast yarn soup sock sets for this. Knitting size large using US 5 needles, which are 3.75 needles. And I made a lot of progress this week. I added the mini skein to this third panel section. And here is my stitch marker from last week. So I've made big progress to finish up like this first main color section. I moved on to the mini skein and then I started back on the main color here. As you can see, this mini skein panel, this stitch here makes it look like trees. And I think it was very fitting for this color since it is a green color for it to use the tree pattern that is in the pattern. So let's just show you all. It is now very long. Here's the length of it now. I think all the colors work so well together, and I'm very happy with how it's coming out. To be honest, it is starting to feel a little bit like a little bit of a slog to work on. Just because, I mean, you are using like the entire full skein plus mini skein pretty much to work on this. It's fingering weight yarn, so yeah, it's starting to feel a little boring to work on, I will admit, but I'm almost a third of the way done, and I know I'm going to love the finished object, and so that's kind of what's keeping me going, working on this. So yeah, that's just my quick update. I do feel really happy that I did get to this section of the third skein, or the third sock set here, so I'm really liking it. It's looking really good. Very happy with it. Just gotta keep working on it to get it done. Okay, moving on. I have another shawl to talk about. This is the Melt shawl by Andrea Mowry. And I can show you, I've also made some good progress on this. This is a DK weight shawl, and so it is kind of going by a little faster feeling than the Verglass wrap. But where's my stitch marker? Oh, this is my stitch marker. I was here last week, and so I've completed a couple more repeats up until this second lace section here. I kind of just finished that today. I really like the color combinations. I'm glad you guys like it too. I'm always scared about doing color combinations for projects because I just never know. I want to make sure, I just want to make sure it looks good, and I really, really, really like how this is coming out. The only thing that worries me is all of the ends. I think I mentioned this in last week's video. One thing, it caught me off guard, but if I thought about it and looked at the pattern a little more, it would have made sense that these stripes are only done with this one row for each of these colors for the stripe, and so you do have to just like cut the yarn. Feels weird, especially in the beginning, because each row is so short, to just like cut the yarn, and it kind of makes it like if you rip this out, I don't really know. I mean, you could reuse the yarn, but it would be really annoying because it would be in all of these separate pieces. So that is just like the one thing about this, but I know that I'm going to like this shawl and probably won't want to rip it out, and so I feel now more comfortable with cutting the yarn for this. But yeah, so I just started actually my second skein of the main color. I have 3 DK weight skeins of the main color. I realized I slightly in my head miscalculated the yardage for this main skein colorway because in the pattern it says 3 skeins of a DK weight yarn for the main color. And so in my head, this yarn, all Woolberry, Fiberco, Berry, DK. The main color is Sandcastle, and then the maroon red color is Festive, and then the blue color is Button Jar. But back to my miscalculation. The pattern says 3 skeins of a DK weight yarn. However, that DK weight yarn, I think is like 270 something yards for 100 grams or per skein. And it does have yardage estimates also for the main color and for the other 2 colors as well. And I don't know, I think I misread it, or I just wasn't really paying attention. These skeins are 231 yards for 100 grams, and so I come up short a little bit from the estimated yardage for the main color yarn. But I'm hoping that I will be okay, because usually I think in patterns they kind of add a buffer just in case, but also that if there's less yardage per 100 grams, this yarn might be a little thicker than the yarn Andrea Mowry used in her samples, so I don't know what that means in terms of how much I might need even more than the estimates, but I think I will be fine. I think if I do, I'm always worried about not having enough yarn, and usually I end up being okay. But I think that if I do for some reason end up not having enough yarn to finish this project, I think it'll actually be at the border part of the pattern, and so I could just like substitute it for a different yarn. I think I'll be okay. So anyway, that's just like a thing that I realized this week, so I just want to share that all with you. Oh, I am knitting size 1. There is a size 2, which is bigger, but yarn-wise, I can only make size 1. And needle size, I'm using US 6, which is 4mm needles. I do believe that that is the recommended needle size for this pattern. So yeah, so that is the progress on that. I've been really enjoying working on this, and I think part of it is just like because it's DK weight and it's up a lot faster than my fingering weight stuff at the moment. Okay, next up I have I have a ton of progress on my one. Is this my only sweater knit right now? Kind of. Well, actually, I have a sweater that I have not knit on for a very long time that I still want to finish, the superlative sweater. Do you all remember that? I haven't knit on it in a while, but I want to get back to it soon. But anyway, this is the only sweater I'm working on at the moment. I've made so much progress. This is the Weekender Crew by Andrea Mowry. This is in my Handspun yarn. Ta-da! I have a finished body, a finished neck band, one finished sleeve, and then I'm just working on the second sleeve right now. And then after the second sleeve, all I have left to do is do the two pockets that are in the front, and then it's done. It's almost done. Yeah, so as a reminder, the hand spun I'm using for this was the sweater spin that I just finished a few weeks ago. The fiber was from Arbon Textiles Yarnadelic fiber in the colorway The Beautiful Ones. And I am knitting size 1. I'm using US 4 needles or 3.5 millimeter needles. That's for the ribbing, and then US 6 or 4 millimeter needles for the body. And I am very happy with this. And I think you can tell because I knit a whole bunch of this this past week. Where was I last week? Oh, this is bottom up. And oh my gosh, was I here last week? Is that where I was? I just like finished the ribbing on the body and then only worked a couple inches of the body after joining the split hem ribbing. Oh my gosh. This is knit inside out because the body is reverse stockinette, so it has the purl side facing out, but you do work it so that you're just knitting in the round and then just flip it later. The top, there is this ribbing detail at the top of the shoulders on both sides, the front and the back, and it's joined with the 3 needle bind off so that the ridge is faced outwards. I think that Andrea Mowry, at least the recent patterns I've made from her, kind of have that detail. I think she really likes having that, like, the ridge of the 3 needle bind off on the outside. And there's the detail on the front and the back of this middle seam where it's just slip stitches. You can see the back here. Oh, I wanted to show you the back of the neck for this pattern because I don't think any of Andrea Mowry's pattern pictures shows the back, and I trust the pattern, I followed the instructions, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen or how this was going to work. So this is worked bottom up again. So as you're working the back, you do actually work, when you're working the shoulder ribbing up here, which there's also shaping, so it is kind of sloped down on the shoulders, you do start to work part of the ribbing in right behind the back neck, unlike the front, where you do kind of start binding off here and then start working the side ribbing, and then you pick up in the front to do the neck band. In the back here, this smaller just like here, is worked while you're still working the entire back panel, but there is some, if you can see, kind of like this like disconnect right here, or little kind of like, yeah, section here. I think there are some bind offs that happen here to make this shaping. And then when you work the neck band, including like picking up for the back, it includes like, you start like all over here. So like this section is the neck band, but this bottom section was worked part of the back panel. That might have just been a whole bunch of words that didn't make any sense, but I hope like just seeing what it looks like will give you just like a better idea on what's actually happening with the pattern. I think that I did eventually find on some Ravelry page, like someone did take a picture of the back neck, and so then I felt comfortable with like what was happening with the instructions. But yeah, I just wanted to show it to you all here because it was a view of the sweater that I was trying to look for and that I wanted. And yeah, it made me realize there really isn't too many. Most people don't take pictures of the back, so unless there's like a huge, detail on the back, like if there's like a bow or something. But other than that, like sometimes, like I think it is just kind of like nice to just see all views of a pattern, which I know I also don't really do, especially when I post pictures on my Instagram. I don't normally post pictures of the back again, but it is something I want to like take into consideration, since it is something that I sometimes look for in a pattern. And also for like fit and stuff, I think, it's not a flattering look to, stand up and, just have your arms kind of like out like this for a pattern. But I think it's helpful, especially if it's like just to show what that construction looks like and how it falls on like a body in ways, even if you're not going to stand and wear your cardigan like this, might be kind of nice to see that. But I do, show you that on the podcast. So even if I don't have pictures, at least it's in the podcast. But anyway, that's a whole thing. But yeah, I just wanted to show you my progress on my handspun sweater. I think it's going to block out a lot more flat, especially down here, because there is ribbing that it's kind of bunching, as you can see. But I think after blocking, it'll lay flat and drape really nicely. I really like how this is turning out. Yarn feels great. I will say it feels a little rustic, a little structured, which I was expecting anyway from this yarn, but I am curious after washing and blocking how it's going to feel on my skin when I wear it. And so of course I will talk about that once the sweater is done and that I can wear it. One thing that was interesting was the short rows that are worked to shape the shoulders. They are wrap and turn short rows, and I don't know if that was done for a very specific reason. I wonder if it's just because in more of her recently released, I don't think I've made any Andrea Mowry patterns that are like much older. I just like only maybe this year, end of last year, was working, or just like last year, started knitting her recent stuff that came out, and then I knit it kind of soon after. She used German short rows, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know if because this is kind of like a revamp, or like she had the Weekender sweater and I think a Weekender light from like years ago, that maybe she used wrap and turns then, and so for this one she just continued with the wrap and turns. Or I don't know, maybe because it is short rows that happen right before you start ribbing, that maybe it looks better that way. I don't know, or maybe it's because there's reverse stocking it. Maybe that looks better. Maybe the pearl side looks better with wrap and turns than German short rows. I'm just completely, I have no idea. I'm just shouting out ideas. But I did have to look up how to do those, because any time that's in a pattern, I always screw it up, and so I have to look up how to do it. Her pattern does have instructions on how to pick them up, so I did just follow that, and I think it turned out okay. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see there's bumps, but I don't know if that's just because, it might just be the pearl bumps that look kind of bumpy and not necessarily from the short rows. But you can kind of tell, there, I don't know. What do you think? I don't think it's going to bother me when I wear it, and also from far away you're not going to be able to tell, but I was just curious. I was wrap and turns. What else? I really wish that on camera the yarn color showed up a little better. I mean, it's all right. It's pretty much a gray color, but it does look it actually looks kind of variegated. Lightly, very low contrast, just because of how much color in the fiber strands there was when spinning it. I really like how this colorway is turning up. Oh, one thing that I think is really nice is that the body is knit in reverse stockinette, so that it is the purl side that's facing out, but the sleeves are in normal stockinette, so the knit side is facing out. And actually what's really funny about that is that's like the opposite from the cardigan I'm wearing, where the body is stockinette and the sleeves are reverse stockinette, which is, yeah, it's kind of funny. But I like, especially because I'm using my handspun for this, that it is, you can see both the purl side and the knit side for the stitches, because it's just really nice to see your handspun used in different stitches, and also like to see it in ribbing as well. So it's really nice to kind of see your handspun yarn in those different kind of textures. I noticed as I was working through my skeins of handspun, I am on my third skein right now, that I did notice a slight difference in thickness of my yarn. I started off with a thicker yarn, and then as I'm going through my skeins, they're kind of getting thinner. So I actually think that my first two skeins were kind of more on the worsted weight side of yarn. But I measured my gauge on this, and it looks like from the sections I measured that the stitch count is fine, although maybe a little bit bigger than the pattern gauge, but the row count is it was a lot bigger. Not a lot, maybe like 2 stitches less than the pattern says for, like the 4 inches. But I mean, this looks, I followed the instructions. If there were any, knit until whatever inches, I did just knit until whatever inches, even though math-wise with gauge, I would have had to knit more rows, but I reached that length before reaching the number of rows or rounds. But, I just did that, but I didn't change anything about how many rows worked for doing the neck shaping or the sleeve shaping or anything like that. Not sleeve shaping, but the shoulder shaping. But I think right now, the yarn weight that I have right now is a lot more, it's closer to DK, it's a little thinner. And so I think I'm actually hitting gauge quite well on that. But yeah, even though they were slightly different gauge, I don't think you can really tell. There's not really any moments that look really a lot bigger. I do think that this spin was a lot more consistent throughout the entire sweater spin. And so it's been really nice to work on and to knit, and I'm just very happy with it. So I could maybe finish it this coming week, or I'm just gonna, as always, with projects that I like speed through the beginning, once I start getting closer, I kind of like stop working on it, which I don't know why I do, but I don't know, I kind of feel like I'll probably finish this, if not this coming week, the week after. But yeah, that is my Weekender crew by Andrea Mowry. Okay, I have one more work in progress to talk about. And this one's a fun one because it is a project that I have not touched in a very long time. I think from last summer. If that gives you a hint as to what it is a tank top. Let me hold up what I have on it right now. I made a lot of progress on this week. I really was like, this is the week it was staring at me. I made sure that it was like out where I could see it, so that I was like, just work on it, get this done. This is the Ogee, Ogee tank by Sari, Nordlund. I think that this pattern was in like a pom-pom magazine a while ago, but I have it as just like the pattern itself online. And last time I talked about it, which I don't even remember when that was, this is worked bottom up. I was here, this stitch marker here. I only worked this much. And so this past week, I finished up the body. I split for front and back. I finished the back, which is this V section here, and then the front I am halfway done. So I finished up this like right front, and now I just have to do the left front here. And so almost done, which is really great because it's been on my needles way too long. I don't want to have things on my needles for that long. So I just push through. As you can see, it's all over lace, which is the reason why I think I lost steam on this very quickly after casting this on the first time. It's just very tedious. Oh, I am knitting size 1, and I'm using US 1.5 needles. Like, it's very small needles. The yarn I'm using is Sewrella yarn Silk Sock in the colorway Rose. This is the first, actually this is the only Silk Sock yarn from Sewrella I've ever bought, and I actually really like how it's working up. I think it's going to wear really nicely too. I'm very, very interested to see how this blocks out, especially because of the lace. It really needs a good blocking. I think it's going to look really nice. It does look a little scrunched right now, so I'm very excited for that. But yeah, it feels really nice. I think it's going to be really nice for the warmer months, and I just need to push through because I've realized I don't think I really like working all over lace things. I think it's very pretty, but it's not, at least right now, it's not that fun to work on. I think when I first started knitting, first like year and a half, I really liked working on all over cable and lace things. But now I'm just like, I enjoy a little bit of cable, a little bit of lace, and mostly like stockinette or something. But you know, I think it's just like going through a phase of not wanting to work on lace things, but I really want to finish this because I don't want to have, I've been really enjoying actually working through my project list and not having like 15 things on my needles. And it also, when I have less things to work on, I work on what I have a lot more, and so I make a ton more progress on it, and it feels really good to finish projects a lot faster. So I just wanted to get this done, and also I was like, if I get this done now, it'll be ready to wear during summer. So I mean, it looks really pretty. I did try on what I have right now, since I have a connected right side with the strap, and it fits really nicely. And so yeah, I'm actually quite happy. I was worried, like, this looks kind of small, but it does stretch to fit. So yeah, I do like it. I'm not super enjoying working on it. Oh, okay. One more thing about this. Working in the round was fine, like during the body. It's just like very tedious. Working decreases for the front and back, not fun, not enjoyable. You need to have, at least for me, I cannot, okay, let me back up a little bit. Since it's all over lace, when you decrease, you have to decrease with the lace pattern in mind, and because the lace deals with knitting 2 or 3 together and then doing yarn overs, you can't just like do what you need and then, you know, do the decreases. Like, you can't just do the decrease or knit 2, knit 3 together for the lace and then also do the decreases. If you have to do a decrease in the middle of a lace pattern, you have to keep in mind your total stitch count. Like, because you can't just do the decreases and then not have if you don't have the rest of the lace pattern to do the yarn overs to make up for the stitches you've decreased with the decreases, if that makes sense, you're going to have a really weird stitch count. So there are written instructions on how to deal with decreasing to make, you know, the V, the shaping decreases, while also keeping in mind the lace pattern. And it's like over half a page of written text on what to do if you're decreasing at the beginning of the row or if you're decreasing at the end of the row, and how many stitches are left in the lace repeat that you're doing. It's a lot of words, but I do think it is worth the time and effort to do it because I want to show you. I was too lazy to look up or to like reference these instructions for if you're decreasing in the front or in the beginning of the row and you have 9 to 10 stitches left in the lace pattern, or less than 5 or less than 15. It was like something like that. I was too lazy to figure it out, so I was like, I'm just going to, if the lace repeat is not like the full lace repeat, I'm just going to knit it as stockinette. And you can see that, I think, quite clearly in this section. You can see in this kind of like column, there's like this triangle of stockinette. And on this side, you can see it multiple times here. Triangle of stockinette, and then this triangle of stockinette. And so it doesn't bother me so much that I'm going to redo it. This is what this side looks like, and then I decided to actually try and follow the instructions on this side, and it looks a lot more seamless. You don't really, like, the sections of stockinette are just a lot smaller, like here. If without these, like, you see the holes here, without that it would have just been the big block of triangle of stockinette, but with the holes it kind of like blends into that lace pattern a bit more. But this is the back, and so it does not bother me. But I did make sure I followed the decrease instructions for the front, and so that it, because it is going to be the front where people will see it more. So it was a little more tedious to do, and so, but I think it's worth it. I will say the instructions were a little confusing for the decreasing, so I would not knit this again. Even if I really like it, it just wasn't the most enjoyable thing to knit on, but that's just because I don't really think in all over lace things in fingering weight in 1.5 US 1.5 needles. Oh, which I just realized I don't have in my notes what the millimeter size is. Does it even have it on here? Let me look it up really quickly because I've been trying to add the millimeter size to my notes here and to talk about it, because the US sizing is just like kind of confusing to what size that is. Okay, I think according to this one thing, it is 2.5 millimeter. 2.5 millimeter. I'm just gonna write that in my notes really quick so I don't forget. Okay. So that is this tank. I also want to get this done by next week if possible, which I think is doable because it's just one more. It's just this front section here, the strap, and then weaving the end. So it should be done pretty quickly. But yeah, I'm really happy to finally have this kind of like getting worked on, and will now be one less project I have on my needles. Okay. And that is actually all I have for my knitting this week. Spinning update is the same from last week. I'm still working on my Big Little Yarn Co. Satsumaimo Pie Creme Brulee wool. I really like it. It's right now, it just looks exactly the same as it did before. So yeah, I'm still working on spinning the singles. So yeah, that's all for the spinning updates. And I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, so if you've reached all the way here, I have a really fun acquisition I want to talk about. So let me pick it up first, or do I talk about it first? No, I'll pick it up first. Okay, what's in this box here? Okay, I got a really fun box of goodies from Amy Scher. And so, disclaimer, this is a gifted set of things that I am going to show you here, but this was for specifically it is a collection of items from Amy Sher, since she now has a shop open, online shop open, and she has a collection called The Threads That Bind, and this is for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, which is this month of May, and she started showing on her Instagram the items that are going to be available in the shop and for celebrating AAPI month this month, and I got a box of some things that's really nice, and I'm excited to share it with you all. It took everything in me to not immediately open this and start using the items, but I wanted to show it to you all before I start using them. But let me start first with this amazing postcard that comes with the box. I think you have to spend a certain amount of money to get this postcard. Look how cute this is. It's so cute. I don't know where. I want to like hang this up somewhere. I love the colors on it. There's like so much cute knitting things happening and going on in here. Very, very, very cute postcard. And then I also got I got the sticker. I remember this showing up on Amy Sher's Instagram. Oh my gosh, please focus, camera. So cute. I think they're wearing like all like the coloring book like tee and sweater designs that are by Amy Sher, and so cute. I love stickers. I never know where to put them though, because I don't want to like waste the sticker and put it somewhere and then not use that thing, or if the thing, you know, I don't know, but I love stickers, so that was really nice. I got a whole bunch of stitch markers, which I have actually been like, I wanted to buy some of these, and so this is really nice that it came in this box. There's this set of stitch markers that has like the tea pot, the tea leaves, and the tea in the tea cups. So cute. I love tea. Actually, I love coffee and tea, but tea is also great. There's some green tea stitch markers. These also look they're so cute. They look super well made. I cannot wait to put these on my knitting projects. These are so cute. I also love green tea, so this is also like really good. There is this amazing keychain that has green tea and a skein of yarn in front of it. Ooh, the glare was kind of bad there. Okay, I'm going to maybe hold this until it gets focused. Ah, it's so cute. I'm probably going to put this keychain on my skate bag. It's probably what I'm going to do. Oh, and then this other stitch marker, boba, plus a ball of yarn. Super cute, and the ball of yarn is pink because I love pink. It's perfect. So all very cute. The packaging is amazing. The product looks really high quality. Yeah, I'm just like really happy about those stitch markers. I also got this ruler, and it has Amy Sher on, kind of like not embroidered in it, but like, you know, the wood, whatever. And then I think this is going to be really nice too, because I don't have like a hard, like a solid ruler. I just have like the tape measure that I use for everything. So if I need to just measure something that's kind of small, this is really nice. And I've always wanted like a needle like size thing, like these holes here, but I've never felt like, you know, I was like, do I need it right now? Can I wait till later? But now I have one. I'm very happy about that. And also came with this Tuft Woolens sock soap. And I've never used this before, but I've always been very curious to try it. This is Citrus Grove. I really like the smell. It smells like something familiar, but I can't figure out what. It smells good, but it's a familiar smell, and I can't figure out what. But it smells nostalgic, and I guess that's good. Okay, and this other really exciting thing, I do have a sock set. A yarn sock set. This is the Moondrake Co. yarn sock set. The colorway is End of the Rainbow. This is a BFL high twist sock set. 400 yards for 100 grams for the main skein, and then 80 yards, 20 grams for the mini skein. It's 80% superwash BFL and 20% nylon. I don't know if I've had a BFL yarn before, so should be interesting. I love these colors. It is, I mean, as it says, it has rainbow in the name, and it's just like this nice neutrally, like, it's like kind of pastel, but not like bright pastel. It's like this more neutrally pastel, and I really, really like it. I have no idea what I'm going to knit with this. I mean, maybe socks because it's a sock set, but I'm just going to admire it for now, as it is in the skein. So, yeah, I'm just like, let me just like hold up some of the things that I got. Honestly, I'll probably use this for the thumbnail for the video, but like, I'm so happy with these products. I was actually planning on buying some of these things anyway in the shop. So yeah, thank you so much to Amy Scher for sending this out. I am really excited for her, and loved her patterns from when I think the first pattern I've ever knit of hers was the Go Gently cardigan. Loved it so much. I think like every pattern I've made of hers, I've completely enjoyed the process of knitting the item, and I think that it's a combination of just like loving the finished object, and also like the pattern instructions are just so well written, and it just feels nice and comfortable to knit from her patterns. And so yeah, very exciting that she has stuff in a online shop now. And yeah, just overall like really exciting things. So yeah, I think that is all I have to talk about today. I'm really glad that the sun is out a little longer now, because it's, oh my gosh, it's May. I know, can you believe it? I can't. So, I do have an update for you all. I passed my exam. I got my results this past Wednesday. I'm so happy. I am so relieved. I was so stressed about waiting for my results, as you could probably tell from last week's video. So now I've passed this exam. I no longer have to study for it. I no longer have to pay for the subscription to study for it. It feels really good to have done that. I don't know if I mentioned this. I might have had last time, but I have been studying for this kind of on and off since September last year. Is that right? September, October? Yeah, September last year. And then really going hard at studying for it at the beginning of this year, and for the past like couple months, like really, really hard. So it feels good that that is now behind me. I think I'm still catching up on like feeling quite tired from doing the exam, and also the stress of waiting for it, but it's a happy week. And yeah, I don't know how I'm going to celebrate for it yet, but I definitely want to celebrate in some kind of way for it. I did buy some yarn yesterday, day before that. There was, so I guess that is part of how I'm celebrating for myself. I bought a couple skeins from Woolberry's Coastal collection, like Coastal 2.0, and I bought also a couple skeins from Coast to Coast Yarn, because she has, she was doing a online pre-order for one of the colorways that's like, is an exclusive like in-shop colorway, and I think it's called, actually I don't know, but it's like this pink, really cute pink, white, speckly colorway, and I loved it. Ever since she posted that it was going to be a store colorway, I was like, please do a pre-order, because I don't think I can make it to your store. So I did buy a couple skeins of that to celebrate as well. But yeah, I'm so happy it's over. And I'm just still living in the celebration of the moment, because it's been a long time. It feels like it's been a long time coming. So, yeah. And just looking forward to so many fun things that I want to do after passing this exam, because there are a lot of things I've put off doing because I needed time to study. And I told myself after the exam, I'm going to make some moves doing some things for my knitting. And for my knitting, I want to get back into yarn dyeing. I want to get back into fiber dyeing. Maybe finally start on that self-drafted / maybe pattern cardigan that I want to knit. So I'm going to give myself some time to just kind of like relax and just like knit a whole ton, which is what I did this past week, because I don't have to study after work now. Actually, maybe that's why I had so much progress done on some of the things. It's just I can spend all that time after work knitting now instead of studying. So I'm just feeling very happy, just so happy and grateful for all of the friends I have who've congratulated me, and for all of you for watching the podcast and for celebrating with me and being there for me, and just so happy. So it's a happy week. I hope it's been a happy week for you. I hope it's going to be a happy week for you. And that's all I have for you all today. Please let me know in the comments down below what you've been working on. As always, I love to hear about it. And happy Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage month of May. And I'll see you all in next week's video. Bye.